My boyfriend asked me to stop telling people we were dating because it made him look whipped. He said we should move in silence. So I left and made a lot of noise. So Micah had this charm, like smooth-talking, eye-crinkling, let me carry that for you kind of charm. We met at my friend Yasmin's rooftop birthday thing. He was wearing this green jacket that looked stupid on literally anyone else but somehow worked on him. And the first thing he said to me, I swear on my air fryer, was, "You're the only person here who looks like they'd know where the snacks are." Like, okay. I laughed. Not because it was that funny, but because it was him, you know. That night we ended up sitting on a lawn chair someone dragged up there, sharing a bag of hot Cheetos and trauma bonding over our mutual hatred for group projects. It was so easy. And from there, it felt like things were happening fast, but not in a scary way. Like 2 weeks in, we'd already hung out 5 times. 3 weeks in, he knew I don't like ketchup near my fries and that I sleep with socks on. A month later, I was at his place more than mine. You know when you accidentally start dating someone without even realizing you're full on in it? That was us. Or so I thought. Micah was sweet, thoughtful, and smart in this low-key way. Like he'd send me random articles about books I loved or text me photos of dogs that looked like mine. We had inside jokes, a Spotify playlist, matching toothbrushes at each other's places. So naturally I assumed we were dating, right? Well, cut to 3 months in. I post a selfie of us on my story, nothing deep. Just us eating pancakes, me in his hoodie, both of us looking very much like a couple. I didn't even tag him, just posted it with Saturday's yellow heart emoji and moved on with my life. That night he texted me, "Hey, can you maybe not post pics of us like that?" Like what? I literally stared at my phone for a solid minute trying to figure out if he was joking. I replied, "Did you not like it? You looked cute though." He goes, "Nah, it's not that. I just don't want people thinking I'm all whipped or whatever. You know how guys are." Excuse me? I'm sorry, you don't want people thinking you're what? Whipped? Bro, I helped you install blackout curtains last week because you couldn't sleep with light on your third eye, and I'm the problem? I was floored. So I texted back, "So we're not allowed to look like we enjoy each other's company now?" And he hits me with, "It's not that deep, babe. Just trying to move in silence, let's not make it a thing." Let's not make it a thing? Okay, my bad. Let me just erase the 8 weeks I spent folding your laundry while you played FIFA and acted like I was your emotional support plushie. But fine. I let it go. Told myself maybe he was just feeling weird that day, maybe someone said something and he got in his head. I'm not gonna lie, I've had exes get teased by their friends before for being soft. I get that dudes have egos. Toxic ones, sure, but they still exist. I thought, stupidly, that it was a one-time thing. It wasn't. Because the next week, we're at his friend Malik's house for this casual game night thing. Everyone's chill, there's music, snacks, Cards Against Humanity. At some point someone, I think it was Tasha, goes, "You two are so cute. How long y'all been together?" Before I could even answer, Micah laughs and goes, "Oh, we're just vibing." Just vibing? Y'all, I nearly choked on my sparkling water. I gave him a look and he kinda smirked and nudged me like, "Babe, chill," and everyone just laughed and moved on. But me, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Why was he so determined to not claim me in front of people? Like, are you embarrassed? Am I embarrassing? I didn't say anything that night. Honestly, I just shut down. I smiled through it, acted like I didn't care, but in my head, it was spiraling. I spent the whole night hyper-aware of how he interacted with me, only holding my hand when no one was looking, sitting just far enough away to look platonic. And when we got home, he acted like nothing happened, like I hadn't just been publicly ghosted by my own boyfriend in real time. I wish I could say that was the turning point, that I packed my tote bag, told him to go vibe with someone else, and walked away with dignity. But nah, I stayed. Because when you're in it, like really in it, your brain does this wild thing where it starts making excuses for stuff that should have been red flags. I told myself it was just how he was raised. That maybe he was scared of commitment, or maybe he just didn't know how to be soft in front of other people. Spoiler alert, none of that was true, and what happened next made it crystal clear that I was not the problem. So yeah, that night after game night, I laid in bed next to him, stiff as a board, just staring at the ceiling while he snored like someone who wasn't slowly gaslighting me out of my own relationship. And I wish I could say I confronted him right away, that I sat up, turned the light on, and said, "Micah, are we dating or am I just your emotional Airbnb?" But I didn't, 'cause honestly, I was scared of the answer. I'd never felt like this in a relationship before, not even in my toxic situationships back in college. Micah wasn't just a guy I was seeing. I liked him, deeply. Kind of like where you plan birthdays and playlists and mentally try out his last name with yours just to see how it sounds. For the record, didn't sound great, but still. So I stayed quiet. And by morning, he was all over me like nothing ever happened, making me pancakes, kissing my forehead, talking about a hiking trip next weekend. And I let it go. Again. But then a few days later, I ran into someone from his life, and that's when things started unraveling for real. I was grabbing lunch at Sweet Green on my break when this girl tapped me on the shoulder. She goes, "Hey, are you Micah's friend?" I blinked. "Friend?" She nods. "Yeah, I've seen you on his stories sometimes. I'm Deja, I used to work with him at Hive." And y'all, my heart sank. 'Cause stories? He hadn't posted me once. Not even in a group shot. And now here was this random girl recognizing me not as his girlfriend, not even as someone he was dating, but as his friend. I smiled and said something awkward and polite. I honestly don't remember, I was just trying to keep my brain from going full tilt. That night I asked him straight up, "Do you tell people we're just friends?" And Micah, without blinking, goes, "It's just easier that way, you know how people talk. I don't want folks all up in our business." Folks all up in what, Micah? The business of you eating my soup leftovers and using my shampoo? I was shaking. I asked him as calmly as I could, "Are you hiding me or are you hiding something else?" And y'all, his face changed. "You're doing too much, it's not that deep. Why does it matter what other people think?" But here's the thing, it's not about other people. It's about me. It's about the fact that I was giving him girlfriend energy, loyalty, time, emotional support, my Spotify premium login, and in return I was getting treated like a placeholder he was embarrassed to admit existed. And I know what someone's gonna say. But if everything felt good behind the scenes, does it really matter if people knew? Yes, it matters. 'Cause real relationships don't exist in the shadows. You don't treat someone like a partner in private and then a ghost in public. I didn't say all that though. I wish I did. Instead, I sat on the edge of the bed, wrapped in a towel, mascara smudged under my eyes, and said, "Okay," like a fool. But here's where the story turns. Because the universe, she was tired of watching me fumble this plotline. About a week later, I was on TikTok, just minding my business, scrolling through cute dog videos and astrology nonsense when I saw him, Micah, on a random girl's TikTok, at a rooftop bar, arm around her waist, grinning like a man who didn't have a girlfriend waiting at home with a homemade pasta dinner. And the caption, POV, when the just friends energy turns into something else. Y'all, my soul left my body. I went to her page. She had like 4K followers, mostly travel and food content. But there he was, in 3 different videos, soft launched like an iOS update. And she was beautiful. Like glowing skin, effortless curls, kind of beautiful. And it wasn't just the video, it was the comments. OMG, finally. Y'all are goals. Glad he moved on from that one girl. That was me, wasn't it? I felt like I'd been sucker punched. Because while he was out here protecting his image, curating his soft launch, I was shrinking myself, making excuses for him, doubting my worth. For what? For a guy who was out here being loud about someone else? So I screenshotted every frame, every comment, every cozy little rooftop whisper, and then I packed a bag, left his house key on his kitchen table, blocked his number, and posted one last photo to my story. Me in the mirror. Red lip, black dress, holding a glass of champagne. Caption, moving in silence was cute. I prefer explosions. Because if he didn't want me telling people we were dating, fine. Now everyone was about to know we weren't. Okay, so let me just set the scene. It's the day after I posted that mirror selfie. I didn't say his name, didn't throw shade in the caption, like nothing obvious. But apparently that was too much noise for Micah. 'Cause at 8:14 a.m. I woke up to a string of missed calls, 4 voice messages, and a whole novel in my texts. Yo, what was that post? Are you trying to make me look bad? You said you wouldn't make this messy. Call me back, this is OD. OD. As in overdoing it. Bro, you soft-launched a whole other woman while telling me to move in silence. And now I'm the dramatic one? Okay. I didn't respond. I wasn't about to engage in a debate about whether I had the right to be visibly single after being invisibly taken for the better part of 8 months. Instead, I did what any girl with receipts, a petty streak, and an unlocked camera roll would do. I made a slideshow. No joke, I opened CapCut and made a whole aesthetic little healing era video. Clips of us together. The back of his head. His hand in mine. That one blurry video of us dancing in my kitchen to Rihanna. And then a hard cut. Me, smiling at dinner with a guy friend I hadn't seen in months. Very obviously not Micah. The last slide was a screenshot of my Spotify playlist titled, Playlist for the Guy Who Couldn't Post Me. I let it sit for 2 hours, then I deleted it. Because the point wasn't to ruin him, it was to reclaim me. But of course TikTok had other plans. See, I forgot that the internet is fast and people love messy timelines. Someone reposted my mirror selfie with the caption, "The ex of the Just Friends guy posted this after that rooftop TikTok." And boom, my DMs were full. Strangers asking for tea. Girls thanking me for carrying the heartbreak torch with elegance. Micah's new girl even blocked me. Which, like, babe, good luck. But here's the real kicker. 2 days later, I get a message from his friend Malik. Now, Malik and I were cool. Not besties or anything, but he always respected me. Always called me Micah's better half when we'd hang out. So when I saw his name pop up, my heart jumped a little. He just said, "Hey, I don't want to be messy, but you deserve to know. Micah was dating her before you even posted that pancake pic. They overlapped. Heavy. And just like that, the timeline snapped into place. The random mood swings, the I'm just tired texts, the sudden need for space. The accusations of me doing too much. It all made sense. Because he wasn't embarrassed to be seen with me. He was hiding me from her. Y'all, I felt stupid. Not because I got played, but because I let myself be played for so long. And then I did something that would have made the old me cringe. I sent Malik a thank you, then I opened Instagram. Scrolled to our first photo together. The one I had saved, never posted because Micah said it was too coupley. And I posted it. Throwback to when I thought hiding me meant protecting something real. Turns out I was just the secret ingredient to a whole recipe of lies. Bon appetit. Micah blocked me within 20 minutes. His friends started unfollowing me. And I I ordered sushi, watched an episode of Selling Sunset, and for the first time in months, I actually breathed. But trust me, it wasn't over. So it's about a month after everything blew up. I'd fully blocked Micah, archived the texts, muted mutuals and all that. I was journaling, lighting candles, saying, I'm in my healing era like I meant it. I even joined a Pilates class, like full-on post-breakup glow-up starter pack. And honestly, I was good. Or at least I thought I was. Until I walked into Target, of all places, just trying to buy shampoo and a frozen pizza. I'm not even being dramatic. I had on leggings, a hoodie, no makeup, hair in the kind of bun that says, I gave up somewhere around noon. Zero intention of seeing anyone. I'm shuffling down the home goods aisle, minding my business when I hear a voice go, Yo, is that you? I froze. 'Cause no way. No way that's who I think it is. But then I turn and there he is, Micah, holding a basket full of snacks. And next to him, her, the girl from the rooftop TikTok, wearing his hoodie. I swear time slowed down like my soul hovered above my body and said, Girl, don't make a scene, you are in front of the throw pillows. He looked just as shocked to see me, like deer in headlights shocked. And for a second I think he forgot he wasn't alone because he literally stepped forward like he was about to say something and then stopped. She looked between us, eyes narrowed. Micah, who's this? And this man, after nearly a year of situationshipping me into silence goes, this is, we used to hang out. Used to hang out? Bro, we were practically married. I knew the password to your Wi-Fi and your emotional wounds. I helped you write a cover letter for a job you didn't even get. So I just smiled, tilted my head. Yeah, we used to hang out. Like a lot. You still using my Netflix login or did you finally get your own? Y'all, the look on his face. Like he'd just swallowed a thumbtack. She turned to him, eyes wide. What? Micah tried to play it off like I was joking, laughing nervously, going, You're wild for that, and trying to change the subject, but she wasn't letting it go. Hold on, you told me y'all were never a thing. And me, I wasn't about to get dragged into the drama, so I just picked up the throw pillow I'd been reaching for and said real sweet, Anyway, y'all have a good night. Enjoy the chips. And I walked out. Did I dramatically toss my hair as I turned the corner? Yes. Did I pretend not to hear the muffled arguing behind me? Also yes. Did I immediately text my best friend from the parking lot in all caps? Absolutely. But the best part came 3 days later. I got a DM from her. First, I hesitated to even open it. I wasn't trying to get into some weird triangle where I ended up the villain for simply existing, but curiosity won. She wrote, Hey, I just wanted to say thank you. I didn't know. He made it seem like you were some random girl obsessed with him. I'm sorry if I was ever rude or weird. I broke up with him. That last line, I read it 3 times just to let it sink in. 'Cause that was it, that was the karma. And the fact that he had to explain himself. That his little move and silent strategy finally blew up in his face. That every lie he told unraveled in aisle 9 of a Target on a Thursday night. It was almost poetic. But you know what really sealed it? 2 weeks later, I'm back on TikTok and guess who I see? Micah, posting a video of himself in the gym. Shirtless, sweating, all that. The caption, no distractions. Still on my grind. And the top comment, is this the same guy who told his girlfriend to move in silence while he soft-launched another girl? LOL. Y'all, I screamed. Because if there's one thing louder than love, it's the internet never letting you live your nonsense down. Okay, so after the Target showdown, the gym thirst traps, and that unexpected DM from Rooftop Girl, you'd think I'd be feeling on top of the world, right? And yeah, for like a solid week I was. I went on a mini solo trip to the coast, got my nails done, rewatched How to Get Away with Murder like it was a religious experience. But then, you know what hit me? The grief part. It was the grief of losing the version of me who thought that kind of love was enough. The girl who made herself smaller just to make a guy feel bigger. Who accepted vibes instead of words, hints instead of truth, silence instead of commitment. That kind of loss hurts in a very specific way. So I did something I'd been avoiding for months. I called my therapist. Backstory. I'd seen her once back in college during a panic attack spiral over finals and never went back. But this time I didn't want to just survive heartbreak. I wanted to understand why I kept confusing attention with affection. Our first session? I was on that couch like, I know I'm not crazy, but why do I feel like I dated a magician who made my entire identity disappear? She laughed, kindly, and said something I'll never forget. You didn't lose yourself. You were never allowed to fully show up. That one line, it wrecked me. 'Cause yeah, that's what it was. So I started making a list, yeah, literally, of all the things I'd shrunk for him. Posting less. Smiling smaller. Not bringing him up in convos with friends. Avoiding relationship talk to keep him comfortable. And then I made another list of things I wanted to do now. Just for me. Go out without texting someone a play-by-play. Laugh loudly without feeling like I needed to tone it down. Reclaim every single part of myself I'd dimmed. One of the first things I did? I dyed my hair. Yup, went full caramel blonde, which sounds random, but you have to understand Micah absolutely hated change. He once said, you should keep your hair natural, it's like your signature. So naturally I took that as a challenge. And you know what happened? People loved it. I walked into brunch with my girls that weekend and they screamed. One of them stood up on the bench and said, Who is she? Who is she and what has she done with the sad girl from last month? That day turned into a mini celebration. We toasted with mimosas, talked trash, laughed so hard I had to redo my eyeliner in the bathroom. It was the first time I felt like myself again. Not some shadow version of me trying to be low maintenance or cool or chill. Now here's where it gets spicy. About 2 weeks after that brunch, I got an email. Subject line, brand collab opportunity, modern dating stories podcast. Y'all, I thought it was spam at first. But no, it was real. Some podcast I'd followed casually had seen my viral TikTok, loved my healing arc, and wanted me to come on for an episode about emotional invisibility in modern relationships. I texted literally everyone I knew. So fast forward, I do the interview. I tell my story, the whole thing, start to finish. No names, no face reveals, just the tea and the takeaways. I talked about the concept of social hiding in relationships, how it's this quiet form of emotional neglect that feels like love until you realize you're invisible. The episode goes live and it blows up. Comments start rolling in. OMG, I lived this. This hit me in the throat. I didn't know there was a name for what I went through. Even the podcast host messaged me after like, girl, your episode got more listens in a day than our last 3 combined. And guess what? 2 days after it aired, I got a burner account DM. All it said was, heard your little podcast. Real cute. Hope the attention's worth it. The bitterness was practically autographed. But listen, if you didn't want me to talk, maybe you should have acted like someone worth remembering quietly. By this point, I really thought that was the end of it. Micah was a ghost. Blocked. Deleted. Emotionally exorcised. I was knee-deep in my glow-up era, journaling, Pilates, group chats that turned into therapy sessions, and fully leaning into the version of me that didn't tolerate crumbs just because the plate looked cute. And the podcast, that was like closure served with a side of poetic justice. I didn't need more. But the universe, she loves a callback. So I'm at this networking mixer downtown. It's for creatives, writers, designers, marketers, all that. My best friend Talia convinced me to go. She said I needed to touch grass and make LinkedIn-worthy eye contact. And it actually wasn't bad. Free drinks, chill music, people pretending to be confident while holding tiny plates of cheese cubes, you know the vibe. I'm talking to this guy, cute, funny graphic designer wearing a sweater that screamed, I have a therapy app subscription, when out of the literal shadows I hear, didn't expect to see you here. I didn't even turn around at first. I just closed my eyes and whispered, no F way. But yup, there he was. Micah, looking too put together. Fresh cut, turtleneck, that one watch he always wore when he wanted to look more successful than he was. And here's the kicker, he was wearing a name tag. Because apparently, he was a creative consultant now. The audacity actually vibrated in the air. I said, flat as ever, didn't know you were into networking. I thought you preferred moving in silence. He smiled. One of those awkward, fake little smirks that doesn't quite reach the eyes. Funny. You always did know how to put on a show. Oh, so now I'm the spectacle? Okay. I sipped my drink. Gave him a long look. Not really a show when it's just the truth, but if the truth makes you uncomfortable, maybe it says more about you. He had the nerve to look offended. Like I'd ruined his night by simply existing in the same airspace. He goes, you made me look like a villain. And I swear, something in me snapped. I leaned in just a little, real quiet and said, Micah, you were the villain. I just finally stopped editing the script to make you look better. He opened his mouth like he wanted to argue, but I wasn't about to let him spiral me back into that mess. So I turned around, found Sweater Boy again, and said, sorry about that. Just a ghost from a past season. Sweater guy? Totally chill. Said, I figured. He gave serious X energy. We laughed. We exchanged numbers. And no, it didn't turn into a rom-com moment, that's not what this is. But it was the first time I flirted with someone without feeling like I was doing something wrong. Like I needed to hide. Like I needed permission to exist loudly in the world. And that was everything. But wait, one more thing. About 2 weeks after that mixer, I got a text from a mutual. Someone I hadn't talked to since the Micah saga ended. They sent me a screenshot. Micah had posted some quote graphic to his story. White background, black serif font. Very deep. Very fake deep. Sometimes you don't realize what you had until you watch her thrive without you. Followed by, wish her the best though. Not gonna lie, I howled. You didn't want to be seen with me, but now you want to be seen missing me? Okay. I just closed the message, took a deep breath, and booked a ticket to Costa Rica. 'Cause the real win, it's the moment you stop needing his regret to validate what you already knew. You were always the main character. He was just a badly written subplot. So you'd think after the Target run-in, the podcast fallout, and the networking event awkwardness, that Micah would just disappear back into whatever corner of the internet he crawled out from. Well, no. Because when a man loses control of the narrative, his first instinct, try to rewrite the script. Started small. People from our old circle started texting me screenshots. Micah had started posting little quotes to his story every other day. You know the type, sad boy aesthetic, dimly lit gym selfies, captions like, silence is misunderstood by the loud. Not everyone will understand your growth. That's okay. She told her side. Respect it. I've healed. Sir, please. You were never silent, you were just sneaky. At first, I rolled my eyes and ignored it. But then one of our mutuals, a girl named Britt, who I'd always liked but kept at a distance, messaged me directly. Hey, I don't know if you saw, but Micah wrote a whole Facebook post about you. Y'all, Facebook post. like we were middle-aged parents beefing in PDA comment threads. And when I tell you, this man really sat down and typed a 3-paragraph mini essay that began with, "Sometimes we mess up good things while trying to protect them." It went on to paint our relationship like some tragic misunderstanding. He said I exaggerated things for attention, that he wasn't perfect, but cared deeply. He even mentioned the podcast, not by name of course, but said he never expected his private life to become public entertainment. Bro, the only reason your business became public is because you turned our relationship into a private joke. And the comments? Flit. Some of his friends, the ones who always thought I was too much, commented heart emojis and keep your head up nonsense, but most were silent. Or worse, tagging each other and laughing. One girl literally commented, "If silence is so golden, why you writing essays now?" That was him realizing he'd lost control of the version of me that stayed small, soft, and silent. The girl who'd sit beside him while he ignored her in public and pretended she didn't exist at parties. And now I was existing loudly. But just when I thought the curtain had finally closed on this Broadway-length breakup, I got a phone call. From his mother. Yup. The woman who once told me I made the best chicken Alfredo she'd ever had. The woman who said, and I quote, "You're good for him. He needs someone strong like you." She called me out of nowhere. I stared at the name for a full minute before answering. Part of me thought it was a pocket dial. But nope. She meant to call. She said, "I don't want to get in the middle of anything. I just wanted to tell you that you're not the first girl he's done this to. And you won't be the last if he doesn't learn." Y'all. My jaw hit the floor. She kept talking, said she listened to the podcast episode. Her co-worker's daughter had sent it to her, which like wild, she said. "You said things I've been trying to say to him for years. Maybe hearing it from someone he actually cared about will make it sink in. And listen, I didn't say much on that call, I was too stunned. But when she said, 'I'm sorry you had to go through that,' I almost cried. 'Cause that was the first time someone in his world actually acknowledged what I went through." She ended the call with, "I hope you keep sharing your voice, even if it makes some people uncomfortable." And Micah? He could keep spinning his story, but no one was listening the way they used to. 'Cause when someone finally tells the truth, the real truth, it echoes longer than any soft launch ever could. So about 2 weeks after that call, I get a random DM from a girl I didn't recognize. Her name was Joy. Pretty smile. Nothing weird at first glance. She texts, "Hey, this is really random, but I think we need to talk. It's about Micah." Y'all, my stomach dropped. I knew it was about to be some next level twist. So I responded with a very cautious, "Hey, sure, what's up?" And then she sent it. A screenshot from Micah's phone, from 2 months before he told me to move in silence. The message, "I don't really do labels like that. Let's just keep this chill and private for now. People don't need to know what we have." Y'all, it was word for word what he told me. She said they'd been hanging out, full-blown situationship, during the exact same time frame as me. The spa weekends, the Friday night dinners, even some of the exact same excuses. "I'm swamped with work. I'm drained lately. I just need space to focus." And it gets worse. 'Cause she had receipts. Photos, texts, notes he'd left her in her car. Even her own soft-launch TikTok that he'd reposted to his burner account. Y'all, he had a whole second identity online. Just for her. And guess what? He told her not to post him either. Said it made him look too caught up. Told her he preferred privacy. Told her he wasn't ready for anything serious. And then cooked her steak dinners at his apartment like he was on The Bachelor. I nearly threw my phone across the room. It was the recycling. Copy-paste manipulation, the fact that he ran the exact same playbook on both of us like we were characters in his favorite little script. I asked her, "Why now? What made you reach out?" And she said, "Your podcast." My roommate played it while we were cleaning, and I literally stopped in my tracks. It was like hearing my own story, word for word. Same phrases, same excuses, same BS. She told me she cried listening to it. We ended up on the phone for almost 3 hours. We weren't trauma bonding over a man. We were unpacking how much we'd minimized ourselves just to be easy. How we'd ignored our guts because we didn't want to seem clingy or dramatic. She said something I'll never forget. We were never asking for too much, he was just offering too little. Mic drop. Now here's where it comes full circle. Joy and I, we stayed in touch. Not best friends or anything, but we check in sometimes. Send memes, occasionally tag each other in gaslight girl boss gatekeep reels. Healing stuff. But the best moment? We got coffee a few weeks later and this girl, this absolute gem of a human, pulls a little gift out of her bag. It was a candle, labeled, "Move in silence." I'd rather burn the bridge. Y'all, I have never laughed so hard in a Starbucks in my life. That candle sits on my dresser to this day. And Micah, he's still out here reposting vague quotes. Still trying to act like he's the misunderstood one. Still moving in silence because literally no one is listening anymore. So here we are, almost a year after that first tiny crack in the wall. The day he asked me not to post that pancake photo because he didn't want to look whipped. That one sentence started a ripple effect I never saw coming. And now I'm standing in a completely different life. Micah thought silence was power. He thought if no one saw us, I couldn't hold him accountable. He thought as long as he kept things ambiguous, he wouldn't have to answer for anything. But what he didn't realize, people eventually notice who isn't being mentioned, who disappears when the lights come on, who gets edited out of the story they helped build. And now he has to watch as everyone knows my name while his just gets mentioned in lowercase behind a blurred-out profile pic in stories about the guys who never showed up until it was too late. I didn't set out for revenge. But if you ask me, there's something delicious about the fact that he spent so much energy trying to keep me hidden, and now I'm everywhere he goes. Not because I'm stalking and certainly not because I care, but because I exist, unapologetically, in spaces he used to control. And don't get me wrong, there are still days I feel that sting, the little voice that says, how did I not see it? How did I let it go that far? But then I remember all the people who reached out. Joy, podcast listeners, the girls who said thank you when they didn't even know my name. Micah taught me how small I was willing to make myself for love. But leaving him, that taught me how big I could be once I stopped asking for permission. And now I'm not hiding anymore. So girl, if someone ever tells you that loving them publicly makes them look whipped or whatever crap they come up with, just whip your hair, grab your bag, and walk out. 'Cause no love worth keeping ever needed you to disappear. Thanks for listening. Consider subscribing if you liked the story. Peace out.